We're really glad that you're joining us here today. We feel that our topic kind of touches everyone in a communications department, whether you're a team of 1, a team of 20, a city of 40,000, 400,000, somewhere in between or below or above. So we're going to be covering a few different things today. Obviously, why your website hygiene matters, a couple case studies, some practical steps for you, and then how AI can help you and where to get started. So a quick show of hands, whose favorite thing in the world is making a bunch of website updates? You are a unicorn.
Okay.
All right, well, kind of the reality is that, website updates and data hygiene are usually not anyone's favorite thing to do, but they are extremely important. And the truth is, depending on how long it is between you doing those updates, a lot of municipal websites, county websites can get outdated. They can be inconsistent and overloaded. Some people just think, hey, let's just make a web page for that. That'll solve the problem. The whole community is going to know what's going on as long as we have that web page. Maybe it'll help, maybe it won't. But then we also live in this world where there's a lot of changing expectations, not just from our residents, businesses, and we like to call it the Amazon effect. When you order something from Amazon, you know exactly what day it's coming, the 3-hour time window where it's going to arrive on your doorstep. You can look and see where it's moved from this location to that location. So people really transfer that expectation to every other business they work with, even your municipal government. So when they're looking for an answer, they want to find it quickly, and that's especially why your website really needs to be updated and frequently. There are other trends, mandates. I know we're all looking at that MDCAG, ADA compliance that come up every few years. I think, show of hands, can you remember 10, 15 years ago when it was really common to click through websites? And now we got doom scrolling, so everyone's back into scrolling again, so having fewer pages is actually a good thing. So there's different trends and things that we need to adapt to. So all the reasons why this website hygiene matters. Now I'm going to hand it off to Jay to talk about Arlington's website redesign.
Thank you, Molly, and thanks for being here. It's a full room for a topic that isn't always the most interesting, right? But we're excited to talk with you a little bit about this. And I'm going to go through a bit of a case study on how Arlington just launched this new website and all that we went through to kind of clean up our data and our information and our content. I think this is applicable even if you're not launching a new website, because this periodic review of your content is really critical, and it can be done at any point in the life of your website, right? This example is one of the beginning stages, but it's one that we really, to be successful, I think need to stay on top of as we go through the next few years. We were not planning on launching a new website starting in 2024. One of those kind of surprises that really could have been a problem, but in a way turned out to be a great opportunity for us. Our old vendor was basically kind of phasing out without telling us their product, and so we were not getting as many responses, if any, to even questions about billing, much less a problem with the website or things of that nature. There had been no updates to the product, and so we really realized fairly quickly that we were going to have to move at a rapid pace to be able to launch a new website before the contract ended with the old website. That gave us 9 months from start to finish to get the whole thing done. And so that was our goal with the vendor, and believe it or not, we were able to hold to it, which was great. Finding the vendor and the right product for you is, I think, the most important part when you're dealing with websites. But then after that, the next step is critical, and I think it's foundational to everything you do after that point, which is figuring out what your content is, and then starting to analyze, should it be there or not? This is the kind of the hygiene component of it, right? So do a complete inventory of all of your content, right? This includes PDFs, all the pages, everything. Make sure that you've got all that logged, and our spreadsheet was 2,000 pages long, lines long, with all the different content that we had. But it's important to know everything, right? In this process, you can figure out, do we have duplicates out there? Do we have outdated information? Do we have all those types of things that easily could be cut and probably should have been long ago? This is the opportunity to do it. It's kind of like cleaning out the closet in a way. We should do it more frequently. We don't, but this is a good opportunity to do that. one of the key points for us was looking at the traffic of those individual pages. If it's getting 5 clicks, should it be there? Or you could reframe the question. If it's getting 5 clicks and it needs to be there, what's wrong? Why is it not in the right place? Should it be located somewhere else in the navigation that would allow it to get more views, right? So 2 ways to look at that issue, but either way, traffic is a major deciding point when you're looking at your content and what you should have on there and not. And then, as Molly mentioned, compliance is one of those things. ADA is becoming much more prevalent, and so how do your pages comply with the new ADA rules that are coming out that we have to all live by, in the next few months? Legal notices, and this is a great example where you may have a legal notice. Say Texas requires a lot of things for tax hearings and all that. It has to be posted on the website. It's a state law. Well, does it have to be there? How long does it have to be there? And are you taking it down when you have the opportunity to take it down, or does it just live there because someone forgot to take it down, right? So this is another great opportunity to look for those things. This is just the beginning of the spreadsheet, but an example of what we gave each department. So once we gathered all the information and kind of ranked it for all the different departments, they all got their own spreadsheet that had all of their content. And the goal was review it. If you have pages that are low traffic and you want to keep them, you got to give us an explanation for why, otherwise they need to go, or you need to figure out a different way to provide that content. It could be that it just gets combined on multiple pages. We'll figure it out, but we need to reduce the pages that we have on the overall website. This was actually kind of a dictate from the city manager, but it came from his performance review, and a city council member said, your site's hard to navigate, and there's a lot of stuff on there, and I get lost in it, and some of it's outdated. And so when your council member tells the city manager that during a performance review, all of a sudden it becomes a top priority for us, right? And so that was kind of the information to the departments. Look, cut what you don't need, and we'll help you figure it out if you need. So we actually went through multiple days of working with our departments and the vendor to get this finalized. We also were able to survey our residents. And you'll notice there's data points. I would call the traffic a data point. Another data point for us was surveying our residents and asking them, how do you use the website? How does the navigation work? Where are you going on our website? And also meeting individually with each city council member and with the city manager's team, asking them what's important to you, what can we fix, what do you like, what do we need to keep, making sure their input is on the front end. So you don't have that kind of ta-da moment where you release your new website and you're thinking, you worked on it for the last 9 months, this is great. Everyone's going to love this. And you do ta-da and everyone's like, oh, I hate this. What happened to this? I wanted this on there. It's wrong colors. Well, if you involve those folks in the front end, you're much less likely to have the bad reaction at the end, right? So our survey found, and I don't think there's anything too surprising on this when you look at the user research. These are the pages that our residents were going to on our own website, right? Most of that I think is typical. There's one missing that I was kind of surprised by. Anyone see on there what you might expect to see?
Search window.
Search window, yeah. I'm not sure we asked that question, but you're right. It is an important one, and I'll allude to that here in a second. But there's another kind of a department or a division of the city that I was a little surprised with missing. Police, public safety, right? I expected that to be on the list. Obviously people want to know, how do I adopt a pet? How do I get a job? How do I pay my bill? Those types of things. I was a little surprised. And public safety is important, so it's not like we cut that from the new website, don't get me wrong. But it was interesting to see that wasn't something that our residents were actually going to our website that often for. We were also able to ask them, again, another data point, how are you using the navigation? Is it working for you? Are we putting our content in the right place for you to find it? And in this instance, you'll see, we were okay. I was actually a little more pleased with this than I expected to be with the results here. But still, at least about 25% were like, this is difficult or really hard. And we could do better than that, right? And we have an opportunity now to do better than that. So all of those data points helped lead us to what our game plan was. Reduce the page count. We were at 2,000 pages. We needed to reduce that and reduce it quickly, right? Because we had 9 months to get this all done. We needed to declutter the homepage. This is also about reducing content a bit. Our old homepage, I loved it when we launched it. It was great for 2018. It didn't look so great in 2024, 2025, right? It was heavy, it was dark. We wanted to make it lighter and brighter. Just easy to navigate, right? really focusing on mobile first. This is not new information, right? We've all been told that, but it becomes more and more important. And so when we launched our last website, about 50% of our traffic was coming from mobile. This website, 75% is coming from mobile. And the vast majority of the 25% that aren't on mobile, who are they? City employees who are at their desktop working on the website. So that informs more and more what you need to do when you're designing your website and how it should function. And then finally, the user-based navigation. I think this is probably the most critical. And this is the hardest. This was change management within our entire organization. How do we go from a department-structured website where you can click on the menu and there are police, and here's all police's stuff, and you click on this, and here's fire stuff, and here's permitting stuff, to a website that focuses on how a resident would see the organization. So how does a resident want to find out? Let's say a new business is opening, and they may need a permit for a sprinkler system through fire. They may need a permit for a burglar system. That would come from police. They may need, obviously, all sorts of permits from the planning department. They might need a permit of some kind from Public Works, depending on what they're doing, and is there road construction or other things that might be involved. 4 different things, and let's just say they're also a resident, they want to adopt a dog. There's 5 permits, and none of them are in the same place. So we would require them to dig through 5 different web pages, click, 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 as Molly said, that was what we used to do, right? To find the information. How do we improve that experience? Exactly what we were looking to do. So we were also able to do some user navigation testing once we figured out and got everyone on board that we're going to go from a department-structured website to a really user-based, topic-based website. And so again, we got great feedback. Almost 350 people participated on the old website survey, and we did almost as well with this one as well. People were really engaged, and I was a little surprised. We sometimes struggle with that in Arlington, getting folks engaged. We're in the middle of a big metroplex. People could live in Arlington, work in Dallas, play in Fort Worth, and it's hard to keep them connected to their hometown, if you will. So the engagement we got, we were really excited about, and it gave us some great insights. We worked with the city manager. He was really all in on this, and he's kind of geeky, so he likes this type of stuff. And he dug in with us to help name the different buckets that we would have, the different drop-down menus from the mega menu, as an example, and where the different topics go. This is one of the hardest things we did, by the way, because again, it's changing. We had to change our mindset as well as a team, and he had some very strong opinions. And they were good. I mean, there were things we were on the fence about, and we're like, let's test it and see. And it came back with, I don't know, about the results of our old website, in my opinion. You got at least 25% that are like, this is hard. And so, again, the survey results show you that we had some in the green. They were easy to find, but where we located other stuff, really hard. People were struggling. So we had enough time that we could go back out. We could fix those issues, which meant changing some of the things, obviously, that we started with. And let's reorganize it a bit. And we went back out and we got this result. Okay. By the way, these surveys are not hard to do. We just put a link up on the top of our website and then send it out to individual groups that we have email lists for. I mean, that was the difficult. It was not a hard thing to kind of get this data back. And you see here the results much better. Not perfect, and I don't think we're going to be perfect. In some cases, it may take the person a couple times to get to the website, know where they want to get to their stuff. But if it's intuitive enough, hopefully the 3rd or 4th time they come back, they know exactly where it is. It's not a big deal, right? We are able to look at this in a different perspective too, and I kind of love this chart. We've got a big green line. That means people are finding it really fast. That branch is going exactly where it needs to be. On the left side, you see, your right side. That was our first test, and it took people some clicks to get there, right? You see on the other side, that same survey, a lot better results. By the way, the city manager, I was a little worried. I was like, we kind of changed his stuff. Is he going to be okay with this, right? But it was the graphics and the data we brought back that he was like, this is great. Go and do. So having the research helped us sell the argument. I think that's a key part of this. And just one more kind of reference to this, you'll see here that even our city employees were about the same as our residents. That told me that they should be obviously much more knowledgeable about our site. if they're finding things at about the same rate as our residents, the navigation should be in where it needs to be. So in result, we went from 2,100 pages to 981. And that's a lot of cuts, right? So it's exciting to see. And that really drive two things. One, cleaner, easier site to navigate. Two, the vendor was only going to migrate up to 1,000 pages. So we saved ourselves some money.
Buried headline.
It's relevant. I mean, this is work, right? So we were excited to see that. And then the end result of our website here. We've got some points at the back, but that was kind of our story. And we did it in 9 months, which was a sprint, but it was by far the easiest of the projects we had. And I truly believe it was because we went in with a lot more research. And again, not to drive home the point too much, but data points that helped us make the right decisions. So pass it back to Molly.
Thank you, Jay. So that's incredible. My story in Buffalo Grove is a bit different, but there's still a lot of similarities, which we'll circle back to after this. Buffalo Grove is a northwest suburb of Chicago, about 30 minutes away. And I created a brand new department 3 years ago, so I have nothing to do with the old website. I'd just like to say that real quick. But it wasn't bad looking. It just was really, really a struggle from a lot of perspectives. The search function was awful. It would bring up, news articles from years ago that have been expired. I don't even know how it found them. Got a little excited there. The navigation was really confusing. There's a lot of outdated information and, a really big lack of accountability with staff and updating their information, checking back on it regularly. We actually had no analytics, so I wish that I had those to start with on this process. But we were kind of like, use some best practices. I think a lot of municipal websites have, certain key features on the homepage because those are based on analytics. So kind of doing a little guessing game with that, but then also, relying on our staff to find out what they get the most questions about. We also had limited accessibility on our website, and part of that was that accountability. And then the mobile response was not great, and there was very, very little page customization. Which that also impacted, the mobile responsiveness. And needless to say, our elected officials had a lot of feelings. I think they had a little bit of trauma through the last couple of websites. It was kind of one of those number one complaints they'd always heard from residents. So naturally, when they opted to create a communications engagement department, the website was definitely a number one priority. So our goals, we were lucky enough to kind of align our new website launch with going through a formal branding process. So we adjusted our contracts to make sure that we could launch a new website with the new brand. We also obviously wanted to really fix that search functionality and the accessibility as well. And we wanted to empower more quality control, holding people accountable, maybe not letting them publish things without some review from our team. And then obviously being able to use analytics finally to make some data-driven decisions, move things around as needed, and then improve other functionalities, front-end, back-end experiences so that we could have more customization, better organization, all of those things. So what really worked for us was really taking a comprehensive look at all the things that we're trying to accomplish, not just with our website, but our engagement with residents. How can we be better with two-way communication? How can we look at all of our different software contracts? Is there ability to either align those timelines, maybe umbrella some under one to maybe get some cost savings, or better integrations in the background? And that is what we did. We actually moved our website, our agendas and meetings management, and our code all under the same umbrella, so they talk to each other really well. So now when you search on our website, there's actually tabs where you can search those things out separately. But that's really helped a lot. And then also, like I said, that goes hand in hand with it, but finding the right partner for all those things you're trying to achieve. One of those things I'll mention later on is finding a chatbot for a website so that people can not only interact with someone on the site live, but also 24 hours and through their text messaging as well. But then finding the partner that's going to have all those features to help us achieve those goals, And then, what can we do before we get ready to go through this process to get ourselves ready for the transition. We were going to a different vendor, similar to Jay, so it really was taking all those steps to get all the content that you want to transfer taken care of before you start building the new site, so you're not dealing with the problem in a new place. And so part of that for us was really diving into our metadata, which we also didn't have access to right away. We had to have that changed. So we were able to start really, keywording the crap out of every page, my French. And so that is a daunting task, but even if you can do it 10 minutes a day, it really helped us get to where we are. And so our big thing was kind of taking a new philosophy with our homepage. We actually did away with navigation, and our website vendor was like, what are you talking about? You can't do that. I'm like, well, we're going to do it. And we were able to do it because of all of that work we did in the back end with the metadata and keywording. So if you see our website, there is no menu at the top. There's just a giant search bar. And then, of course, we've got some of those big hits on it as well. But, now that we have data, it's great. I wish I could have the before and after. But sometimes the best, data you have is anecdotal. And I know that not everyone's thank you box of their great website design is stacked full, but we really don't have a lot of complaints about the new one, so I'll take that as a good ROI. We were also, a big thing that we were working on is trying to, in Illinois, any Illinois people here?
Whoa,
That's
nice.
my crew. We might have the most layers of government ever, and a lot of people in our communities, they don't know, we have a separate park district. We don't have a parks department. We have a township. In my community, we have 6 school districts. There's an elementary, middle. Anyways, people don't know who does what. So it was really important for us, even on our website, to be having links and keywords to things that people might be looking for. So even on our homepage, we have a direct link to Parks and Recreational Program that goes to our park district. We programmed keywords in with our chatbot to send them to their sites. Same with passports. We'll go to the library. We wanted to make sure that even if someone's coming to us, we can at least help them get to where they're trying to go. So part of that was also our chatbot that I mentioned. And our chatbot has a personality. As you can see, there's a person down there on the left. His name is Brett Robinson. He was a 38-year employee, started out as an intern in high school and worked his way through various positions, then retired as administrative services manager, and one of his last projects was helping us get our new website and chatbot underway. And he was literally our human archive, and that's a newspaper clipping that he was being turned into a chatbot, which we did. And naturally, we had a buffalo icon, and he is wearing Brett's signature outfit, which was glasses, a goatee, and a cardigan. So you can have a lot of fun with the chatbot too, and people really like him. But that has been a great tool for us because I think about chatbots even 10 years ago, and I never wanted to use them because they weren't very helpful. But they have come a long way, which Bratton will tell you a lot about. They've come a long way, and now even post-COVID, some people don't even want to talk to humans, right? So I think it's something to definitely consider if you're going through this process. Like I said, we were very fortunate to be able to, roll out our new brand, have the new chatbot, all with the new website. But what we were able to do before we retired the old website is actually hide our chatbot on one of our pages to begin testing them. And so that's where I think with your website, if you have a chatbot, any of those things, just like Jay said, with their navigation testing, you've got to get feedback from people outside of your organization, especially your leadership, because they're the ones that are going to tell you if it's great or sucks. And then every department's got to be involved because they're dealing with it day to day. They know what problems people have because they're getting phone calls because they can't find information. And like I said, those other agencies in your community, how can you collaborate with them to see if there's ways that you can, link to their site where needed or help answer questions. On our new website, we did have a feedback form live on the homepage for 6 months. We said, hey, if you're having trouble finding something, please let us know. We want to know what you searched. So maybe we had the keywords wrong. I think we got 2 forms total, so I take that as a win. Same with our chatbot. We have I think anyone in the misinformation session yesterday heard about those ambassadors you can build in your community. We have a group like that called our Community Champions, so they were eager to help test our chatbot. We got a lot of feedback. We were able to integrate in some of those responses. Also worked with all the departments to go through those common FAQs. And then we continue to have ongoing feedback that we are working through as we look at what questions people are asking our chatbot. Is there a response that we could better tweak to help improve the information that we're getting out? Next, I'm going to pass it back to Jay to kind of wrap up this section.
So, and I forgot that I didn't circle back to the search bar that he'd asked about. We did want, I'd say number 6 on our list of goals for our project was a better search tool. It's really important, and we've been using Google, and I don't know if you guys have had the same experience as us, but it was not the best search tool for us. And oftentimes you get results, if you put it in a Christmas parade, you get 2-year-old results instead of this year's result because it didn't have as many clicks. So that's at least what we experienced. The new search for us allows us to really kind of push what we want them to find in a way. So it's the most up-to-date information that exists. So just some quick steps. I've already talked about setting goals. I think it's incredibly important. You need to know where you're going, right? So make sure you're setting goals, and then you can analyze, did we get there or not? But we get that roadmap. Auditing the site, we talked about that, really important. And working with your departments is critical. I've had 4 websites. Well, I inherited one, that was the worst. They've progressively gotten better, but there have been problems with all along the way, right? And so I feel like making sure that you know what you've got on your site and then involving your city leadership in that. And I mean directors, also your page content managers, getting a lot of buy-in in those areas is really important when you're looking at this audit. It's just, our city manager, and I'm blessed because I have one who's really engaged in communications. That can be a blessing, and sometimes, he's in our world a lot. But I'd rather have that because it means he values what we do. But he was also sometimes loath to kind of look at the departments and say, you must go and do, right? He didn't like to give dictates like that, which I appreciate as a director, but at the same time, when you're managing a site like a project like this, you like that director, right? You don't have a choice, you have to go do this, right? And this time he was a little bit more forceful, which I think helped guide the process to get us where we were at the end of the day. It helped with that change management. Ensuring consistency. We didn't talk too much about this, but this is a great opportunity. It doesn't mean, you don't have to do it when you get a new website, but a new website is a perfect opportunity to be able to make sure that all of your branding is right on all the pages, that all the style is correct. We have a style guide, and we went over with our departments. This is how we do the capitalized city, even though you're not supposed to, and according to AP style. We follow AP style these ways. Making sure everything is consistent across the website is really helpful. And then the governance and accountability. It's not just during the process, it's after you launch the site. Continually making sure that the content is up to date is really important, that you don't have broken links. We have a tool that helps us with that, and so we'll send out a report once a week to the department. You've got these broken links, fix it, right? And that reduces the frustration of the residents on the back end. And we've seen, since we've been doing that, we didn't do it on the old site, we should have, during the new site, that after the first 2 or 3 weeks, there's not as many broken links. People are paying more attention, right? And that's the goal. If you can't afford one of those tools, it's okay. I've also enlisted the receptionist on the 3rd floor of City Hall to help me. When you've got downtime, do you mind just going to every page you can find in that window of time and find every problem? Misspelled words, out-of-date information, broken links, whatever it is, give us a list, we'll go fix it. And that human spot check, I think, is really important too. You get both of those, because neither one's perfect. The more eyes you can put on it, and the more tools you can put on it, the better. So those are some other tools I think can be helpful.
All right, and then so just kind of to wrap those ideas up, some quick wins. I know we kind of talked about this, but start small. If you have analytics, if you're lucky enough, I hope most of you do, take a look at those top 10 pages that you have and start with those, fix those. Those are obviously where people are going the most, and you need that information accurate. Like Jay was just talking about, update your broken links, find anyone that can help, anyone who's just wants to browse their pages, make sure things are working. And then align your navigation with like the real resident needs. Don't worry about how your department needs to find it. They will find it. But figure out how the actual end user is going to need to get to that information. And then, like I was talking about earlier, those keywords, use them. I mean, if you need to go into ChatGPT, say, what are other words for this term? I mean, I grew up in Minnesota, and we called the grassy area in between the sidewalk and the street a boulevard. And then I moved to Illinois 10 years ago, and they call it a parkway, but when I was in a specific city, they called it a tree bank, and they got really mad at you when you called it a parkway. So you have to think of like, what are all the terms someone is searching to try to find out they want to get a parkway tree, you know what I mean? If you can't think of all those, there's other tools that you can use to help you, but that and your page descriptions to making sure that you are, if people aren't going straight to your website, they're finding you on Google or whatever it is first. So those are some quick wins, and then of course there's so much value to cleaning your website, and it's obviously hopefully less time for everyone on the phone, fewer FOIA requests, and then obviously getting people the right information faster, which Bratton will talk about how AI can also help with that.
Nice segue.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. How many of you, I'm Bratton Riley. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Citibot. And we build customer service chat platforms for local governments through a variety of channels, which includes web chat, as Molly showed you, the Buffalo Grove, Mr. Robinson. We've been working with Jay. These are some of our early adopters, which we're so grateful for. We learned so much from these two amazing people. But so we built these chat bots. We're available via web chat, text message, WhatsApp. We're about to launch Facebook, and we've launched our voice product too. So think of us as your customer service partner that works 24/7 to help answer the questions that your residents want to ask 24/7. So in that process of growing and our customer base, we just learned so much from our customers, and we've been in the game for 8 years. So we have 8 years of data of what residents are asking their local government for. It's good data. You don't have to anecdotally guess what your residents are interested in, and the good work that Jay did and his team. They did surveys and got real resident interaction. Just by a show of hands, how many of you love your job the most because you get to refresh your website?
You got one?
I thought so. Okay. So, and this is an example of our chatbot. This is Sunny for the city and county of Denver. As Molly showed, it's branded. It's got the look and feel of your city. Y'all define what that vision is. And we learned so much from you all. So today, because we've been listening, today we're launching a new product called Citibot Refresh. And the whole concept is refresh your website in hours, not months. Jay just said that it was they were cooking with gas to get their website refreshed, and the amount of pages that they reduced over that time period is incredible. They were cooking with gas, and they did it in 9 months. That's a long time, and that's a fast time, a larger city, right? And so we've just been listening to our customers, and what we do with Citibot is we use your website content in our knowledge base for our chat platform. And so we've been talking to local government communications professionals, and sometimes they're like, I don't know that I want all that information going into the chat platform, because I don't know if it's accurate. I don't know what's buried in there. Like Molly said, an article from however many years ago they didn't even realize was on the website. So it's like this hesitancy. Oh, no. But the reality is, local governments need to make sure that their website is properly hygiened and has accurate, up-to-date information. But it's hard, right? Because you as the communication professional, y'all have got to get these departments to play ball. And sometimes you don't have the leverage to get them to pay attention to you. And so they don't update their pages. And you might not have the leverage to get them to do that. And so we want to help you get that leverage. It's like Jay mentioned on the broken links aspect, the product that he has. It's like you could take real data of a real broken link and then send it to a department, and then they'll respond because you've sent them the data. You know, that gives you the power, the lever to get them to respond and keep their information proper. So this refresh process, I mean, we'll talk to these customers or prospects or whatever. I'll just be like, well, we got to refresh our website. We'll come back and talk to us maybe in a year before you launch your chat platform. And, you know, that's a long time. It's a long time. So we've heard you. We've listened to you all. And so what we've done is built a product that can automate the process of refreshing your website in real time. How do we give you, it's like, what are we doing at Citibot? We are trying our damnedest through our chat platforms and through this product to give you a lot of your time back because you don't have any extra time. You know, everyone keeps throwing more stuff on top of you and just, you know, they don't give you a raise or anything and just say, hey, can you do this now? Can you do this now? Accessibility. Can you do accessibility now? Because there's new regulations coming down. So with Refresh, we're using AI agents to scrub your website and look for things on your website that might need to be updated. So what we've done is we've got 4 different kind of paradigms that we're going to be searching for on your website. First being accuracy. Kind of need to have accurate data on your website. So we look for information that is inconsistent, might be wrong, or I was talking to Josh in Pearland yesterday. They've got like 1,800 PDFs on the freaking website. What? As I tell everyone, I long for the day where there no longer exists a PDF on a local government website, because that's what we've been doing for the last 30 years. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We got to get rid of all the old stuff and we score it. So we give you a score. It's kind of like the broken link thing. It's like definitive information on what needs to change so your score can go up. So it needs to be accurate. Number 2, current, same issue, PDFs. We can look at the timestamp of the PDF and be like, why the heck is this on the website that's 10 years old? Or department specifically. Maybe Public Works is your redheaded stepchild in your organization and they don't update the website, right? So we can set it so if your any page that hasn't been updated in a period of time, whether it's 6 months, 4 months, whatever you define what that is, then you can go to those departments and say, hey, y'all haven't updated jack squat in 6 months. Come on. It falls into the other duties as assigned, right? For these departments. And then you may or you may not have leverage in your organization to get them to do what they need to be doing. Well, let's help you. So we talk about current, up-to-date content, then persona. I was talking to the City and County of Denver. They're a customer. They have 140 different departments in their organization. And as their director of resident experience says, I got 140 different personalities on my website. Well, that's not ideal, right? So how can we wash your content through the lens of the voice that y'all want to define that is your local government's voice? Consistency. You talked about consistency in your presentation, Jay. That's very important. And then finally, ding, 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 accessibility. Someone says there's these new regs coming down April next year. Cities and counties above 100,000, and then the year after everyone else. We design AI agents to look for all the things that might make your website not accessible. And we present it back to you. So we deliver a score for you all. And we don't just, it's not just here's what you're doing wrong. It's also like, here's what you're doing right. And then here's what you need to do to get your score up. So let's say you're having a problem with certain departments. You know what city managers understand? Numbers. They're bean counters. That was like a big realization when I started my company, because my dad was the mayor of Charleston 40 years. He's like this super charismatic, amazing leader. And then I started hanging out with city managers. It's like, they're bean counters. So give them the beans. So if you're having a problem with a department, you're like, hey, city manager, this is a score. You've got the lever. Can you go over to Public Works and say, get your you-know-what together for me? Because I don't have that pull that you do, obviously. And I need your help. And you understand what numbers are. And you understand that these accessibility rules are coming into place. And, we need to deal with that. So it's the whole idea of how can we automate something that is such a pain in the you-know-what, to give you your time back so you could do more fun things that you want to do, no raised hands, and not what you don't want to do. So, I got to refresh our website. Oh my God, this year is going to suck. We hear it. We hear it, y'all. So that's what we're doing. The product's actually going to be ready October 1. We've been working with a lot of local government communications professionals to get their feedback on the product. How can we make it something that, just works for you, to take the pain associated with that and just let's let it go away. Bye. Y'all got so many other things to do that are more fun and more creative and more important. So we want to help you with that. So we got a booth out here. I'm not going to give too much of a sales pitch. But, this is the number one conference we go to every year. We love you all so much. And y'all know it. And we just want to continue to listen to you so that we can help better serve you. And that's what we want to do. So with that, Mike goes back to Molly to wrap us up.
Thank you, Bratton. And just for clarity real quick, your new product is separate from the chatbots.
It is. It's just a standalone product. Yeah, thanks for the...
Okay. So just to wrap us up, I know everyone's like, okay, well, I either need to start doing this hygiene thing, or I'm getting ready for a redesign, or I'm planning one for the next year. Quick reminder, your website is your digital city hall. You want it to be accurate, you want it to be clean, and you want it to be community focused. So like we said earlier, start small, whether that's 10 minutes a day, your top 10 pages, start somewhere. Try to figure out what keywords you can do to optimize it. And if you're considering AI support, whether it's a bot or something in the future, just know that work is going to help make that even more successful for you, because the bot also not only uses your website as a knowledge base, but those keywords are really helpful. And if you're able to use AI to support it, even if it's not having a chatbot, but like I said, using it to help figure out what those keywords should be that you're plugging into your metadata, do that. There's a lot of opportunity there. And then build habits, not only within your own team, but having those department liaisons, having check-ins, whether that you think it's needed every 2 months, 6 months, or every year, depending on how many pages you have, how big your website is. And then especially getting that training on ADA compliance standards, your other content standards, style guides, so that as people are getting the habit of updating that stuff, it's to your liking. Or if you determine that it's best to have permission settings, like I do, where people can make their updates, but then it goes to our comms team to review. That's always a good option too. And then some other considerations. I know we were talking about this on a call last week, but if you are getting ready to go through that website redesign process, thinking about things that should be included in the contract, like making sure that web provider is going to have your website launched at the highest level of ADA standards at that time, so that you are in a good position to start with. And if there's any other considerations you guys want to mention, those we can wrap this up for some questions.